Welcome back to the pit stop here on the World Racing Network. It's been quite a while since that first episode we did, but we are back because there's quite a bit going on. Obviously, NASCAR is about to start back up, and we've also had broadcasts of the Total Nonstop Racing League on WRN Monday night, so I figured TNR is off this week. What better time to do another episode of the pit stop than right now? So today, we're really just going to go through all the NASCAR silly season changes and updates we had this season, and also going to talk a little bit about TNR and the first couple of races we've done on Monday night. So without any further ado, I think we're just going to get straight into this episode, talk about the NASCAR silly season, and just go numerically through all the changes. I think the easiest way to do it, we're just going to start at the bottom of the car numbers and work our way up to the top and tell you any changes for those cars going into 2023. And the first change of the new season is going to start with car number 3 and Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon's really secure in that ride. I can't see him leaving RCR for anything, with Richard Childress being his grandfather, but there is a change for the number 3, and that is a new crew chief this season. His crew chief for the last 2 years, Justin Alexander, is going to become the Director of Vehicle Performance at RCR, so it'll be Keith Rodden stepping in as crew chief for the number 3. Rodden's last full-time turn at crew chiefing was with Casey Kane in 2016. We'll see what these two were able to do, because we know Casey Kane kind of fell off near the end of his career, and Rodden was a part of that crew, but we'll see what he's able to do at RCR. I am going into 2023 with big expectations for Richard Childress Racing, primarily because Kyle Busch moves in to be driver of the number 8 car. Kyle isn't a stranger to driving for Chevy either. He started his career off at Hendrick Motorsports. He ran 5 seasons there. I think it was around 2003 to 2007 or something like that. Tyler Reddick, his predecessor in the number 8 car, really outperformed, I think, what that car should have been doing. So I'm very curious to see if Kyle Busch can keep that up, and being as good a veteran as he is, even exceed that. And I think ideally he's going to really boost performance of RCR, both for himself but also bring good changes for Austin Dillon as well. The next change is AJ Allmendinger, full-time in the Cup Series for the first time since 2018, I think it was, and he'll be going full-time for Colleague Racing in the number 16 car. This is a move I don't think a lot of people expected. I didn't expect it, because AJ said he was very content running in Xfinity. He was challenging for the championship and winning races, but he is moving back to full-time Cup Series competition. I'm personally really excited about it. I'm a huge AJ Allmendinger fan. I have been for a really long time, so I think there's a good chance that he could bring that car and elevate it from where it's been. Colleague has really been getting better and better, both in Xfinity and the Cup Series starts they've been making. So with AJ Allmendinger's experience, I think you could see them consistently running inside the top 10 by the time this season's done. Front Row Motorsports making some crew chief changes this season, both their drivers coming back, but Michael McDowell will be crew chief by Travis Peterson. Peterson worked at RFK Racing as their race engineer for a really long time, so he's got a lot of good Cup experience that team probably needs at the moment. You also have Todd Gilliland. He'll have Ryan Burgundy as his crew chief. He was the car chief for a while at Front Row, so we'll see what he can do now stepping in as a crew chief. Stewart Haas making big changes at the 41. It was probably one of the bigger stories during the offseason. They're sending Cole Custer back to Xfinity this year and promoting Ryan Preece to be the driver of the number 41 car. Ryan Preece worked behind the scenes at Stewart Haas in 2022 after he lost his ride at JTG Doherty when they went back to a single car team. Preece is a very good race car driver, and when he was driving at JTG, consistently outperforming what that car probably should have been doing. So put him in behind the wheel at Stewart Haas, a team that can race for a championship. I'm very excited to see what Ryan Preece can do. We'll see if that off year had any kind of effect on him. He's also got a new crew chief for the 41 car. That's Chad Johnston. He's worked with a lot of big names through his career, like Kyle Larson, Tony Stewart, and Martin Truex Jr. when Truex was at Michael Waltrip Racing. So he's no stranger to being at the top of the pit box, and it's also exciting to see what that new duo can do this year. One of the more difficult changes, I think, to get used to is going to be that Petty GMS Racing is now called Legacy Motor Club. They've changed the name after Jimmy Johnson came on as a part owner of that team. Some people like the name. I'm one of those people. I think it sounds kind of cool. Other people absolutely hate it. There's a lot of mixed feelings that come about it for anybody. I think I like the name Legacy Motor Club, but still it feels weird that Petty is not going to be a part of the name of that team, even though he's still an owner of the team. But it's weird not having Petty Racing or Petty GMS. Petty not being in the name of that team is going to be a little bit of an adjustment for all of us really to get used to. You've got Noah Gragson taking over for Ty Dillon in the 42 car for Legacy Motor Club, which I think 100% great decision by that team. Ty Dillon just not getting it done, especially compared to his teammate Eric Jones, who was running up toward the front, even won a race last year. So I think putting Noah Gragson in instead, the driver who almost won an Xfinity championship last year, it's a great move. He's a very talented driver, has a lot of fans, and he's also got a lot of Cup experience subbing for Alex Bowman last year. So all around, great move, I think, for Legacy Motor Club. He's also got his Xfinity crew chief from Junior Motorsports, Luke Lambert, joining him this season. So I think all around, that's going to be a great duo and a great car this season. We talked about Tyler Reddick leaving RCR. He is going to 2311 Racing to drive the 45 that was piloted for a while by Kurt Busch, and then Kurt Busch went out and it was Ty Gibbs driving that car last year. But Tyler Reddick, like I said, consistently outperformed RCR equipment, got better finishes than he should have been doing week in, week out. So I think him moving to a little bit better of a team in 2311, that's a good move for him. A couple crew chief changes. JTG Doherty putting in Mike Kelly as Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s crew chief. Those two worked together from 2014 to 2016 at RFK Racing, and that is a team that really needs to get something going. They've just not been where they need to be the last couple years. And then you also have Alex Bowman getting Blake Harris as his crew chief. Harris was crew chief for Michael McDowell last season, so it'll be curious to see how he performs at a team that's expecting to win races and be running up at the front consistently. The number 18 car, no more. It is gone, and it is now the 54, which will be driven by Ty Gibbs, the reigning Xfinity Series champion. Gibbs, a very controversial figure in NASCAR. If you've kept up with it and listened to our first episode of the Pit Stop, you know, very controversial. Some people love him, a lot of people hate him. And it seems like Joe Gibbs Racing kind of likes to put that controversial figure behind the car, because Kyle Busch, there's nobody more controversial than Kyle Busch until maybe Ty Gibbs. We'll see if Gibbs kind of changes a little bit from where he was. I know he seemed to kind of evolve a little bit toward the end of the season. He had stuff is highlighted as well in his personal life. His father passed away, so we'll see how much Ty Gibbs has changed this new season. I'm keeping an open mind, just seeing how he does to start this season. There's also a lot of worry, and I've said this, that he's being promoted to Cup too soon. Joe Gibbs Racing has a history of doing this with Daniel Suarez and Eric Jones. They both got to the Cup Series really quick out of Xfinity, and both of them really just didn't perform like you would have wanted them to when they got in the Cup Series, and that's kind of why both of them ended up not having contracts renewed with Joe Gibbs Racing eventually and moving on to other teams. And of course, Suarez now doing great things over at Trackhouse, and Eric Jones is starting to find some success again at Legacy Motor Club, but we'll see if Ty Gibbs doesn't do the same thing. He definitely showed a lot of promise at the end of last season. He would have had pole at Phoenix, so he's good, but those drivers were good too coming out of Xfinity. And if it's maybe an omen, he's got a new crew chief, and that is Eric Jones's crew chief from when he ran in the Cup Series for a bit. So we will see. Again, Ty Gibbs, a very talented race car driver, but not making any assumptions about what this season's going to be like. I think the first couple of races really going to set the tone for what we can expect from the 54 camp. Jimmie Johnson coming back, obviously one of the big storylines for this season. He's going to be driving the number 84 car part-time for Legacy Motor Club. We still don't know, other than the Daytona 500, what races he'll be at, and if we do know any others, I'm not aware of them, but you probably expect some plate tracks, probably Texas and some other tracks Jimmy likes, maybe Dover. Places he was good at, you would probably expect him to be back at. He's also got Todd Gordon as his crew chief. Todd Gordon was at Penske for a very, very long time. Worked at MRN last year as a broadcaster, but he's going back to the on-track action part-time in 2023. The last couple changes not going to play as big a role up at the front of the pack, but still want to point them out. That is Ty Dillon. We talked about him leaving Legacy Motor Club. He is going to be at Spire Motorsports driving the number 77 car this year. We saw them win a rain-shortened race at Daytona a couple years ago with Justin Haley, but that team probably not going to be up consistently competing for races. Neither are BJ McLeod and Live Fast Motorsports, but he does have a new crew chief in David Ingram, who is an Xfinity Series crew chief for Live Fast Motorsports. So maybe that team will improve a little bit, but neither of those two organizations going to be up near the front. That about rounds out all the changes I'm aware of for the Cup Series this year. I did as much research as I could here. When we come back, we're going to be talking Total Nonstop Racing League on Monday nights on the World Racing Network. Stick with us. The Pit Stop is a production of the World Racing Network. WRN is your home for the latest news about the world of racing, racing games, and iRacing Series broadcast weekly. Check us out at WRNBroadcasting.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at WRN Broadcasting, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest broadcasts and episodes of The Pit Stop. Back now, just wanted to talk a little bit about the Total Nonstop Racing Grand National Series sponsored by Shoe Lawn Service that we have Monday nights on the World Racing Network. This is their first season with us at WRN. They were on our friends at 3YTV last season, coming on board with WRN 2023, and it's been one heck of a season to start off in 2023. You started with Mike Tellier, won a great season opener at Atlanta. So many different lead changes, last lap moves. It was an insane race. He went back to back to start the season, won Phoenix in a great last lap finish. A little bit controversial, but very exciting race 2 at Phoenix. Then you had JD Laird, who's just won the last 2 races, so 2 back-to-back winners to start the season, including our very last race on Monday night. We had 3 overtime finishes, so it's shaping up to be a great season. If you have not tuned in yet, make sure to do that Monday nights on the World Racing Network, 8:05 Eastern. It's been a great couple of races, and you won't want to miss the next race. The next race is at Dover. I believe it's brought to you by FatalConcepts.com. We'll have confirmation of that on our social media. Make sure to follow us at WRN Broadcasting for all the latest updates. That is all for today's episode. We'll have more for you once NASCAR starts, and I know we kind of faded out there. We thought we were going to do things and then got busy, and there wasn't a whole lot going on, and it just didn't make sense to make little short episodes about silly season and just save it up for one nice episode to kick off 2023. So looking forward to talking to you more, hoping to get some guests on throughout the next couple weeks and episodes and all that fun stuff. So stay tuned to the Pit Stop. Follow us on wherever you're listening to us. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and you can watch our broadcast there too. That is all for today's episode of The Pit Stop. The Pit Stop by the World Racing Network is a production of the World Racing Network. The host is Mitchell Adams. Our theme song is Aviation by Track Tribe and is used with permission from Track Tribe. This episode was written, edited, and mixed by Mitchell Adams. Thank you for listening.